Right, so Rosaria is going to be the next new character to come out into Genshin Impact, and I thought, before she comes out, using the information that we got from the special program live streams, what weapons would be good for her, because it looks like it's fairly clear how she works, and she's a 4-star, so her moveset is quite simple to use and understand how it functions, so we'll be able to make some very easy decisions based off of that, what weapons will be good for her. So if you do enjoy this little guide, feel free to give a like, or you can subscribe. Only 4.4% of watch reviewers are subscribed, and if you're new to the channel, which a lot of people are new viewers, we do daily Genshin Impact guides, news, discussions, anything in between. So if you guys want to, feel free to support me. Please subscribe. Progress and growth on the channel has been pretty slow in the last couple of days. So I'm just trying to get it back up again. So yeah, feel free to help me out, and we'll get right into it. So there's a lot of weapons for her, because she's a polearm user. So first thing we're going to discuss is her moveset. So she's got her normal attack combo, and that looks fairly simple. It's much like most polearm characters, but the main things about this is that her E ability is she can dash through small opponents. So take Hu Tao for example. Her dash is a bit like Hu Tao sprint. So when Hu Tao sprints, you see where she disappears for a second. She can sprint behind enemies. Well, Rosaria is that, but she can go right behind someone and attack, which will do cryo damage to them. And from what I can tell, it doesn't inflict your weapons with cryo, so therefore, finally, it's the first polearm user in a while where physical damage is actually a good thing. And her burst is a bit like... It's a bit like Chongyun's Circle, but it doesn't Actually, I'd take the scratch, that's not even like Chongyun's Circle at all. It's like, basically, you put down a field, and it will pulsate and do ice damage, a bit like Zhongli's Pillar. There we go, that's a better comparison to make. So it's like Zhongli's Pillar, except it's cryo. And I'm thinking there's two ways you can play Rosaria here. You can either play her as a support kind of character, so just a flat energy recharge, abilities, try and get some reactions down, and use her burst a bit like maybe like Garnu with her burst, and just do a lot of ability damage. Or you can run her as a main damage dealer, which sounds a lot more fun to be honest, because the physical polearm damage dealers are back, and it's going to be pretty fun to see how this works. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to go through the support build first, because the support build is a lot easier to understand. So we're going to look at the archive here. So I don't have a lot of polearms unlocked, so it's going to say unknown, but for in terms of 3-star weapons, I guess your best weapon is the White Tassel. I mean, White Tassel is good because it just gives you crit rate, and it's got alright base attack, and you could also use the Halberd if you just want to stack as much attack as possible. I wouldn't recommend the Black Tassel at all, because you don't need HP with Rosaria to do stuff, and ideally, I don't think the Black Tassel will be good, because it's only good against slimes, whereas White Tassel increases your normal attack damage. So yeah, try and get White Tassel or the Halberd if you can early game. You can find them in chests in Leeway. I think you can find the Halberd in Monster, I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on it. But so when you get your upgrades to your free-to-play weapons, we have the Prototype Starglitter, the Crescent Pike, and Dragon Spine Spear. Now, I'm inclined to say that all three are actually going to be okay for her. And that's going to be because Prototype Starglitter, it increases your damage once you use an ability. So you dash behind them, you get a tiny bit of attack bonus, and it's got energy recharge. So if you're using her as a support kind of cryo application character, Prototype Starglitter won't be too bad on her, so you can get away with that. Crescent Pike and Dragon Spine Spear are more inclined to be for physical damage dealers on your team. So, for example, the Crescent Pike, which is a weapon that I've leveled up quite a bit, it just has a lot of physical damage bonus, and it's got a really high base attack as well, so it works as well with your cryo damage, when you use your abilities. So Crescent Pike is actually pretty good for her. And also, if you pick up elemental orbs and particles, which you probably would if you're doing a lot of reactions with her, so let's say you had a Fischl to do superconduct, and that lowers their physical resistance, so you do even more damage. You pick up a particle, you've been getting an extra 20% at rank 1. Overall, Crescent Pike is a very, very good weapon for Rosaria if you plan to run her in a physical kind of build. The other weapon is the Dragon Spine Spear. Now, the Dragon Spine Spear has a similar effect to this, because I haven't got the spear, so I was going to use the effect on the Snow Tomb Star Silver. So you drop an icicle and it deals AoE damage. It's a bit like the Crush ability over here on the prototype weapon, but it will do extra damage if they've already been afflicted by cryo. So that's another really fun weapon to use. It does have a lower base attack though, so bear in mind that this might lower your overall cryo damage, but it's got a really high physical damage bonus on the spear specifically, not the Snow Tomb Star Silver, but on the spear, it has a really high physical damage bonus instead, but a lower base attack. So if you're doing a lot of physical damage, Dragon Spine Spear might be better, but all around, Crescent Pike is probably the best for the free-to-play weapon set. Now, ideally as well, if you go to the shop for this month, and it won't be for this month because it will come out next month, but the Blackcliff Polearm is in the shop, and I'd recommend maybe trying that out because it has good crit damage, and I believe Rosaria has something to do with crit rate, so crit damage will be a very fun main stat to mess around with her, because if you can get a high crit rate from her, and you got a high crit damage, that will increase your damage overall a lot more in comparison to stuff like attack percent. Now, there's also other weapons as well you can use, like for example stuff like the Royal Spear. I wouldn't recommend the Royal Spear. Favonius Lance, if you don't want to use the prototype Star Glitter and instead you want even more energy recharge, Favonius Lance is also a strong option. Now, the two other weapons which are paid or you got lucky in the last banner is Deathmatch, which I think overall is the best 4-star polearm in the game because of its crit rate and just increases your attack when you're near or any enemy in the game. So Deathmatch, I say, is the best polearm for her. That's a 4-star because of the crit rate and attack percent. How, you know, if you just want to do an overall build, not the physical damage stuff. And the Lithic Spear, it's going to be a interesting thing to mess around with because you're going to need 3 leeway characters to max out its potential, and Lithic Spear, Rosaria is a monster character, so she wouldn't get an extra percent off of that. So Lithic Spear will be okay if you have the right team for it. Now, in terms of 5 stars, we have Vortex Vanquisher, Primordial Jade, Skyrim Spine, and Staff of Homer. Now, Vortex Vanquisher, probably not. I think, if I remember correctly, it increases your shield strength, and Rosaria doesn't make shield, so Vortex Vanquisher, maybe not, but it increases your attack. So if you want the attack percent over anything, I'd say yeah, it's fine. I guess it's probably the weakest of the 5-star weapons for her. Skyward Spine is a good energy recharge weapon, so if you're using a burst a lot like a support, Skyward Spine would be pretty good. But the main 2 weapons for attacking would be Primordial Jade Wing Spear and Staff of Homer. Now, Staff of Homer, I don't know what her HP values are, so it might not be that good, but Staff of Homer has some very high crit damage rates, and you know, if you want the crit damage and a really good attack on it, Staff of Homer is good. But Primordial Jade Wing Spear, in my opinion, will probably be the best 5-star weapon for her because you're getting some crit rate, I believe. I think it's crit rate you get on it, and it increases your damage whenever you hit an attack. And if you're using her as a main damage dealer and attacking repeatedly, you're going to be stacking that up quite quickly. So Primordial Jade Wing Spear, in my opinion, is probably the best weapon for her. But free-to-play weapons, I'd say best would be Crescent Pike as an overall build. And then if you're running maybe crit, like the polearm, and support weapon, maybe Favonius Lance or prototype Star Glitter, if you're going into 4 stars. Dragon's Bane, no, just don't use it at all. It's not going to be that good with her, unless you're running a Xin show, but even then, it wouldn't be that good. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down below, what weapons do you think would be good on Rosaria, because I'm interested to see what people are going to build when she comes out. So thank you guys for watching it, take care, and I'll see you guys in another video soon. So.